Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday, and I'm the Director of Operations here at the Imagine America Foundation. And I'm excited about today's topic, Life After High School, Training for 2023 Graduates, sponsored by Bryant Stratton College. Bryant Stratton College has an online school, as well as 19 ground campus locations in New York, Ohio, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Bryant Stratton College is also a new partner of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs. And if you'd like more information on how to help your students apply for our scholarship to attend this institution, please visit our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. Or you can call myself or email me. I will be including my email when I send this recording out after this presentation. But since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in qualified workers. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country, desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner again is Bryant Stratton College, and joining me today to discuss in detail this looming worker shortage and how Bryant Stratton College is helping meet this need is Crystal Morgan. Crystal is Bryant Stratton College's premier high school presenter and has been working with high schools and college admissions for over 15 years. But before turning the program over to Crystal, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with questions and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants are encouraged to submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature inside of this Zoom meeting. But at the end of the presentation, or approximately 2:25, we will then present any questions offered by the participants and address as many as possible. But we will have a hard close at 2:30 p.m. to be respectful of your time. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Crystal. Crystal, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Lee. As you shared, my name is Crystal Morgan. I am one of our directors of admissions here with Bryant Stratton College. I work with all of our local high schools in the 4 different markets that we serve. And I'm excited today just to talk a little bit about the challenges that are facing tomorrow's workforce, the opportunities to better prepare students for life after high school, and then share a little bit about Bryant Stratton College's path to college and career success. You know, one of the things that we recognize is the workforce is ever evolving, and it's every aspect of the workforce, from recruitment to onboarding to even the retention of employees once hired. And it's important now more than ever to consider how your students' education is going to prepare them for that type of a workforce. You know, in years past, there was just an expectation of, you know, what's important to my boss is important to me. And the reality is times have changed, the tables have turned. And so the workforce in general is having to reinvent themselves to meet the employees of tomorrow, where they are in terms of what are they looking for when it comes to seeking out that new position? How do they learn best through the onboarding process? And more importantly, once they've identified those right candidates, they've onboarded them, what are they going to do to keep that employee motivated from a retention standpoint? So as a high school student that may be entering the workforce, or, you know, a college student entering the workforce, they're going to be faced with a lot of change. So as you're working with them in their junior and senior year, you know, it's important that we start thinking about how do we prepare them for what that's going to look like, feel like, and more importantly, how to navigate some of the tough discussions that are taking place. You know, when I think about staffing, recruitment, the workforce, all of those, I really think about the whole 2020 to now and beyond. You know, we think about pre-pandemic workforce and what those expectations were, what it looked like. And now fast forward, you know, post-pandemic workforce, I know you've all experienced, you know, going to a restaurant or retail, any type of business out there, they're short-staffed. The way they do business, a lot of things have been automated. There's just so many different pieces that are taking place. It looks so much different, you know, since we went through the pandemic. And we have to really take a step back and think, perception is reality. So as a new person entering the workforce, we got to understand there's generational gaps. There are new normals. And so imagine being that 17, 18, or 19-year-old who's entering the workforce during these challenging times. What can we do to better prepare them? That old way of thinking was, I'm going to graduate from high school. I'm going to get into college. I'm going to build and get a really solid education. I'm going to earn my degree, and then I'm going to start the job search process. Now, talking with juniors and seniors, a lot of them are even considering taking a gap year, going directly to work. They're considering going to a trade school or getting into an apprenticeship. Some may want to go to a 2-year school. But regardless of what that path looks like, their focus is on what is it going to take for me to get into a good and satisfying career? So what jobs are going to be a good fit for me? Where can I get my hands-on level of experience? Where can I gain the skills that employers need and are looking for? They want to know, obviously, that they're going to get paid well for the job that they're doing, but they also want to know that the reality is, what time can I go home at the end of the day? Those days of, as an employee, you go in and you're completely okay with, you might run late, get off work an hour later, 2 hours later, mandatory overtime. That's just not really what the workforce of today is looking at. So as we think about that, imagine again, I'm graduating. Instead of going right to college, I'm thinking about, where do I get my career training? I need something that's going to give me that stable life. I want to move out of my parents' house. I want to begin my future. Where's that going to happen? And so as they're out there navigating their way, maybe it's looking for that first part-time job, full-time job, as they're leading towards a career, they're going to encounter a lot of things. They're going to encounter a ton of job vacancies. They're going to see demand on the existing staff. You walk around, you see individuals, you can see that they're understaffed. You may not know, but a lot of people now are feeling like they're underpaid with the wages changing here recently. Minimum wage has been raised. Costs on a lot of things have been raised. And so now someone who may have in the past thought that a $15 an hour job was a really good wage to get started, now they're expecting 18 to 20. If they thought 20 was a good wage to get started previously, they're looking for 24 to 25. So you've got a lot of individuals feeling like they're underpaid or undervalued. There's a lack of training. The workforce is really faced for the first time in a long time with continual training needs. And so it's difficult when there's that constant rotating door for management and leaders to provide ongoing training to those new employees. They might feel underappreciated, overwhelmed, overworked. They may also feel over it. So again, I look through the lenses of that 17 or 18-year-old, and I walk into the workforce and I think immediately, wow, like, how am I going to fit in here? Everyone seems unhappy. Where's the motivation? How do I navigate to make myself fit? And I think those are going to be the pieces we really have to help them to develop. We have to help them to be prepared for what they're going to see, but more importantly, how to have some of those tough conversations, but how to rise above some of those conversations. Just because you're entering a workplace that the existing staff may or may not be 100% happy with what they're doing, as a new employee who just accepted that offer, just accepted that new opportunity, it's their opportunity to come in and shine. It's their ability to go in and, really wow the management team and seek ways to advance. So instead of going in and joining in some of the, frustrations, how do they go in and level up? And so some of these opportunities to really prepare students, obviously each of you play an important role. Counselors and teachers truly are the career catalysts that can change and mold lives. Many times you're the only one giving them the real facts about college and career readiness. High school students need to learn and understand how high school prepares them for college or career training, and how that college or career training prepares them for the career. At times, you may be the only one that's providing them the motivation that's needed for them to even think about successful life after high school. Whether it be the decision to attend college, deciding on what college or college is, are the best options for them. Should they join the military, perhaps do that apprenticeship we talked about, but they're going to you to see, what are my options? How can I reach the goals that I have for myself? And then other times, you're that conduit between the student and the college or colleges that best fit the student's needs. I know for me personally, when I'm working with a student, I'll ask them, have they sat down and talked with their school counselor? If they've had those conversations, I may even interact and have conversations with the school counselor, especially when I interact with a student who's very unsure about what it is that they want to do after graduation. Finding out what their strengths are, figuring out where their motivation lies, finding out what type of student they were. A lot of those things can help me to really put a student on the right path, because my goal in meeting with a student, as I'm sure each of yours is to make sure that we are saving the student time and money. We want to make sure that they get into the career field that they're seeking in the fastest time, with the right training. So we know, obviously, that the workforce needs an infusion of skilled workers. And a lot of times the conversation that you're having with your student really needs to revolve around, and I know for us it does too, with, are they looking for a job or are they looking for a career? If they're looking for a job, that's okay. That's something that's going to get them by for now. But ideally, we want to get all of these young adults focused with the mindset of, how do I aspire to have a career? What does a career look like, feel like? What are the benefits of having a career? And more importantly, what type of a career do I want to, get involved in, or where do I see myself? And so as we think about the significant need for educated workers, it may be that we need someone who can really focus in on networking, professional integration, understanding the need for teamwork, research and evaluation, adaptability, critical thinking, and creative problem solving. That's a big one. We really now more than ever need that solutions focused attitude, someone who can come in and not focus on the problem, but really focus on solutions. Communication skills, verbal, nonverbal, written communication, sending back and forth emails, and making sure they know how to communicate certain messages and when it's appropriate and who it's appropriate to. Conflict resolution, leadership, regardless of the position they're going into, everyone needs to understand and recognize the importance of being a leader amongst their peers. And then, of course, if you're going into the clinical setting, you got to understand the skills needed for proper patient care. And that's a whole segment all in itself. And so as you're working with students, some of what you can do to help them is really help determine their interests, explore a variety of career options with them. It's surprising to me when I talk with students how many of them have no idea what they want to do. And in a matter of a couple conversations, we can narrow it down to 2 or 3 career possibilities. Through further conversation, we can narrow it down to 1 or 2. And then ultimately, after, that 3rd or 4th conversation, we've narrowed it down to the degree path that's going to really help them to get into the career that's going to be the best match for them. And so we break it down into, categories. One, is the student a doer? Do they enjoy working with their hands? Projects that allow them to be physically active. Doers are classified as being practical, stable, self-controlled, and independent. So some of the careers that may be fascinating or interesting for someone that is a doer, they may want to become a landscaper. They may want to become a hairdresser or a chef or caterer, a licensed practical nurse, a physical therapist. And obviously that's just to name a few, but they enjoy being more hands-on and doing in the field. Someone who's a doer would probably be extremely miserable in a career that required them to sit behind a desk all day. So they got to think about what's going to be a good fit for them personally and professionally. Are they an investigator? Investigators are observant and curious about the world around them. Typically, they're inquisitive and intellectually self-confident, as well as quite logical. So if in getting to know your student, you identify they're an investigator, they may be interested in getting into paralegal or a lawyer, a police detective, a nurse, a pharmacist, a medical lab assistant, things that really allow them to get curious. And obviously, that type of a role is endless possibilities for the careers that are out there. So once you identify that they're an investigator, are they looking more on the legal side? Are they looking to be more in the medical field? Do they see themselves more, in a support role? So I think once you figure out, the type of individual that they are, you can start to narrow down those individual career clusters and career possibilities. This is one that, it's funny, you don't think about it as a standalone, but really, are they artistic? Are they creative? Are they innovative? Do they tend to be unconventional? Do they like working freely, putting their emotions into their work? Those individuals, they need to seek out something that's going to allow them to utilize their creativity. So do they want to be an artist? Perhaps it's a florist, a graphic designer, an interior decorator. There are, again, endless possibilities where they can use creative expression as part of what they're going to do day in and day out as part of their career. You've all heard the expression, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's what we really want to get our students in the mindset of seeking, is what are they going to do that's going to bring joy to their life? Are they a helper? Helpers enjoy jobs that allow them to interact with people. This may include new skills or helping with problems. They may exhibit emotional attachments and tend to be very in touch with their feelings. So someone who's a helper, perhaps they're interested in working as a paramedic, working in youth services, as a home health aide, a childcare provider. Maybe they want to become a nurse. Again, endless possibilities. But if there's someone who truly enjoys helping others, narrow it down even further. Help them find those positions that are going to allow them to feel like they're making a difference in the world. Are they an entertainer? Entertainers are most often self-confident, social, and adventurous. This includes making decisions, selling products, leading groups, and debating politics. Those are probably the students that are in class that have that natural gift of gab. So are we looking for career possibilities that allow them to exude becoming maybe a radio personality, a TV anchor, a lawyer, an advertising agent, a business manager, a travel agent? Maybe they want to work in politics. But figuring out where that piece is going to come from, figuring out where those opportunities lie, if they truly are an entertainer, you're going to help them to navigate and find that for themselves. Or are they a detailer? Detailers are conventional people who enjoy collecting and organizing. They work well within a system. They're efficient and practical. Detailers enjoy playing by the rules, and they work well within their boundaries. So some of those career possibilities as a detailer, and this is definitely not my strength, but it could be that they want to work as an accountant. We all need them, right? The insurance underwriter, a court reporter, a financial analyst. We need those types of individuals who have the ability to pay attention to all the details. I want that person working on my, taxes. I want that person that I can go to that's going to make sure I get the best insurance policy for my home. So if that's the type of student that you have, helping them seek out those positions and opportunities that allow them to be detailed focused will be perfect for them. So when you're navigating and having those conversations, get them to really dig into, now that I know the type of career cluster that's a good fit for me, now that I know the opportunities that exist, now that I've narrowed it down to, am I looking at healthcare or legal or business? They now need to figure out what type of career training is going to be required for that position. Do they need to earn a diploma or a certificate? Do they need an associate's degree? Do they need a bachelor's degree? Do they need to go in and get that apprenticeship on the job training? what is going to be their best avenue to success. And then once they know and they've seen, oh, I need to do a 2-year or 4-year, whatever that option is, they then need to narrow down and at minimum, encourage them to explore 2 to 3 options. You know, when I meet with students and they say they've not taken any other college tours, they haven't done any other college discussions, and we're the first college that they're looking at, it makes me nervous for them. And it makes me nervous for them because I don't think that students can make the best choice for them if they don't explore multiple options. They don't have anything to compare it against. So highly encouraging them, 2 to 3 schools, multiple career paths, do their research and get out there during their junior and senior year and just start navigating and looking and seeing what's out there. You know, the other thing is to remind them, you know, as they start thinking about their short-term and long-term goals, it's okay to dream big, right? We want to really encourage, dream big. Set those goals that are going to help them to get there. But more importantly, they have to take action because a goal without a plan is simply a wish. And a lot of times we'll hear it, especially from younger students, you know, they may choose something huge, like I'm going to work as an astronaut for NASA. Okay, great. What steps do we need to take, you know, right now to get you there? And they have a hard time compartmentalizing and thinking about what do I have to do right now that's going to lead to that career in NASA 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The other piece of it is they, in addition to not being able to focus on the here and now, they don't begin to take action. And so I even talk to students at times where I'll say, you know, have you started the college search process? No, but I'm planning to go to, and they'll tell me some big, you know, big name for your university that's local to them. And I'll say, okay, so since you're looking to get into XYZ school, do you know what the requirements are to get into that college? And they have no idea. They don't know the GPA requirements. They don't know if ACT or SAT is required. They're unsure of what the admissions process is. Do they have to do an interview? What's the application fee? Nothing has been researched. And so I say all that to just, when they dream big and they throw it out there and they're excited, capitalize on that excitement, but encourage them to say, okay, what can we do right now? What do we need to be working on right now that's going to lead you down that path so that you can meet those short-term and lead yourself to that long-term goal? You know, the other thing we can help them with is career pathing. You know, once they know they want to be in the medical field, not every single student's going to go right for their BSN and become, you know, a nurse. Some might get their ADN, which is their associate's degree in nursing. Some may start with a LPN diploma. Some may start as a medical assistant. And I think that just having open and honest conversation with students about what are the career path opportunities there. How can you take a phased approach to your education? How can you gain experience along the way? You know, especially for students that are not 100% sure in what they want to do, it might be better to start with a diploma program. It's going to cost them less. They're going to invest less time. And then if they get into the field and they realize they love working in the medical field, it's worth the time and investment of money to take it to the next step, to get that associate's degree, to get that bachelor's degree. So I think just encouraging them that if need be, take a stackable phased approach. And so obviously, you know, one of the things that I love about what I do at Bryant Stratton College is that we really focus on what we've been talking about today, which is path. What is a student's path to college and career success? We've been around since 1854. We do have building-based and an online campus. And one of the things I'm most proud of is our career services department. Our career services team works with students while they're in school. They help them with learning as much as they can learn about the career that they're looking to enter, the career field they're looking to enter upon graduation. They work with them on updating their resume, their cover letter, making sure they know how to get all their references. We do mock interviews to where the student is prepared for those tough interview questions. They even will help them with dress for success. How do they dress for the interview? More importantly, they help them to land their internship opportunities. The majority of our programs do require an internship or clinical aspect, so they get that hands-on experience while in college. And then as an alumni of Bryant Stratton College, students can come back for that additional support from career services for life. So if they graduate, they enter the workforce, and 5 years from now, life shows up, something happens, they're ready to make a change, they can come back. Career services will help them with updating their resume and redirecting them back out into the workforce. We talked about that stackable approach. We do that with all of our degree programs. So whether it's medical, which is what I have laid out here, whether it's legal, whether it's the business world, there are diploma, associates, and bachelor degree options just like this that will help students to have the opportunity to really take that phased approach to their education. We also have that hands-on experience, labs that really allow students to get hands-on. What you can see here are some of our medical labs. You can also see our physical therapy assistant lab. It allows students to get hands-on instruction that's going to help them gain real-world experience and really the experience that our healthcare employers need and are looking for. We also have really put an emphasis on blended learning. Blended learning allows them to use their virtual component. Some of their coursework is done virtually from home. They are able to come to class and get that face-to-face interaction. And then there are follow-up virtual assignments and assessments. So they do get the best of both worlds, where they're not having to be as time constricted, where they have to be in class every single day for long periods of time. The other great part, as I talked about with career services, is that we do work with a lot of our local employers. So in Ohio, I'm sure there's a few names that look familiar up here: Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, Lake Health. That's just a few of the employers that we work with locally. And again, for students to know that we have partnerships and relationships with some of those larger organizations, it gives them the confidence to go out on those interviews, knowing that their education is seen as reputable and meets the needs of those employers. I talked to you about the other types of programs that we offer, and you can get a full list of all programs and athletic offerings on our website. Real quickly, I will tell you one thing that does make us unique as a career college is we do have Bobcats athletics. So we do have in the market baseball, softball, basketball, track and field. We also have esports. So for those who have always said video gaming is not going to lead you to anywhere, there's actually athletic scholarships to play on part of our esports team. Your students have the support from their admissions team, their financial aid team, their academics team, and their career services team. So as you can see, all the way through the student's educational journey, there's a ton of resources to set them up for success. We even work with students while they're still in high school with helping them to identify any specific needs. So if you have an interest in anything that I've shared today, if you want to learn more about our workshop offerings or availability to come out to your high school virtually or in person, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is listed here. I know Lee will be sending it out as well. But we can come out and do workshops for you on any of the topics listed here. We can host field trips, bus trips, career days, college fairs, and financial aid fairs. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Lee, and thank you all for your time.
Awesome. All right. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our presentation. So if you have a question for Crystal, please type it in the chat feature. It turns out we do have a question. Crystal, this person wants to know, and I think you had covered this. They want to know if students can take a virtual tour of any of your campuses.
Absolutely. So especially for high school students, we find that transportation at times can be a concern. Now, it's not a virtual tour where you would just go to the website, click on your link, and go through and do your tour. Instead, what we do is we schedule time one-on-one with an admissions advisor who will do a Microsoft Teams meeting or Google Meet meeting with the student. We can then walk them through a virtual tour of our campus, answer questions for them live, and even walk through the admissions requirements. And if they feel like we're one of their final selections and choices, we schedule that follow-up visit for them and their parents to actually come to the campus when it's convenient.
Okay. And are there GPA requirements in order to attend Bryant Stratton College?
No, we use our own entrance assessments, and so regardless of GPA, they can actually just take our entrance assessments, and upon passing those assessments, they get direct entry into their program.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think that does it for the questions. Just a few house cleaning items here. Number one, we have recorded this session and we'll be sending you the recording likely tomorrow morning. There is a quick follow-up survey when you leave this meeting. It's an exit survey. It's only 4 questions. If you wouldn't mind answering that for us, that would be very helpful. We do presentations like this across the country, and any feedback you could provide would be incredibly appreciated. But before closing, I just want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. And I'd also like to thank Crystal for sharing with us today's presentation, and encourage you to contact her directly with any future questions you may have, and I will include her contact information with the email and the recording tomorrow morning. But on behalf of the foundation, Crystal and myself, I want to thank you all and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.